G'day, I'm Michael. I'm on the Overclockers Australia forum. My nickname over there can be seen down here. These rat bags cause static. When you're building a computer, you don't want static. Boom! Just the way it's got to be. And now you run it. Hi, I'm Michael. The reason I'm making these videos, and I'll assure you they'll be the least professional videos you're likely to ever see on a computer thing on YouTube, is because I've decided to do a build which is a bit different to what else I've seen out there. Bit of background, I had a NAS system, just an off-the-shelf one. It was causing problems, shut down, all sorts of issues with customer support or lack of it. Long story short, into the bin. I'll salvage the hard drives from it, obviously. So that left me having to come up with some sort of NAS solution and also a server type of thing. At the same time, I wanted a gaming machine. Now I do have a gaming machine, but you know, no such thing as a bad time for an upgrade, right? So I thought, well, I'll do that at the same time, and I'll do a dual system build. Because after a while I actually realised that no single system could do all the things that I wanted it to do in a stable manner. So a dual system build it would be. And what really nailed this is that a Fantech Mini XL case, which is designed for dual system builds, came up on the forum, so I snapped it up and then I was doomed. Alright, so this is going to be the ongoing saga, if you like, of the build. I'm not going to go into too much detail as to various things. I mean, how to build a PC, there's lots of tutorials out there and by people that can do it much better than me. But what I'll be focusing on is the sorts of things and challenges that I come across in doing this particular build. And you know, by all means, if you have any questions, you know, put them down in the comments and yeah, I'll do my best to answer them. If you've got any constructive comments, by all means let me know. If you've got anything vitriolic to say, go somewhere else. Okay, so the very next thing I suppose that needs to be done is we'll have a look at what's turned up so far in the mail from all various good sorts of people, and I'll discuss there's a couple of things that haven't quite turned up quite yet, but are on the way shortly. Alright, see you soon. Hi, Michael, back again. Righto, well in front of us here we've got all of the parts displayed, most of the parts displayed for the builds I'm going to do. So just before I show you what those are, I'll just explain so for future reference you can know what I'm talking about. When I say that I've got a theme for this system, a name if you like, and the name is the Romulus and Remus build. In this case Romulus is going to be my gaming system and office system, that sort of thing, and Remus the NAS and server. Alright, so in future when I say Romulus and Remus, hopefully you'll know what I mean. Alright, let's kick on and have a look at the actual hardware. My face is going to disappear, lucky you. Okay, let's look first at the hardware that we've got for the Remus or NAS system. What I've got here is a Supermicro motherboard. This one is an XL SSL-F motherboard. It's specifically a server motherboard and uses ECC RAM, and I've bought 32 gigabytes of ECC RAM DDR4 to go with that. The reason for choosing the ECC RAM is it's in accordance with the recommendations for FreeNAS, which is the operating system that I'll be using for the NAS, and yeah, it really cuts down obviously on the potential for errors and data corruption. It's worth every extra cent. Alright, as you can also see, we've got the Intel iCore i3 1151, and it's a 6100. So, you know, nothing too stressing on this chip. I mean, this is plenty of spec for a system of this sort. You could even get away with something less, really, for the number of drives I'm running, which is only going to be 5. But why not? As a boot drive, you can use 2 USB sticks, but because I can, I've purchased a Kingston SSD Look, there are reasons for this. Plenty of people say USB is perfectly stable. Others say, look, there is a small chance of errors, which you know, this is going to avoid because it's, you know, not subject to being knocked out of plugs and stuff. Whatever the case, I'm just going with that. For the NAS itself, so that's the boot drive, but for all the storage drives, I've got a bunch of Western Digital 3TB red NAS drives. I've got 3 of them here which were in the old NAS system, the one which failed. I believe all the drives are alright, I've still got to check that. And I've purchased 2 new drives just recently, so that'll give me 5 drives in all of 3 terabytes. I'll go into later the type of redundancy I'm using, that can be another episode. The case itself that I'm using, this is the Fantex Enthoo Mini XL. It is designed to have a dual system build in it, and that is a micro ATX and a mini ITX motherboard. And again, as I do the build, we'll go into this in some more detail. I'm buying one power supply that hasn't turned up quite yet to run both systems. It's going to be a 1000 watt power supply, and using this fantastic thing, which is a Fantex power splitter, so that the motherboard power and everything from the power supply can actually be distributed to both motherboards, and either system can be on independently with the other one shut down, no problems at all. Naturally enough, the power to the graphics card and also to the drives, the SATA connections, they come directly from the power supply, so they don't go through this system. So this is, you know, absolutely plenty. I think it copes with up to 425 watts, more than enough to run those motherboards. Okay, a few bits and pieces. That's just a drive tray. Got some Noctua thermal paste, anti-static wrist strap. Not convinced, but anyway. Alright, coming over here now to the Romulus side of the build. You'll notice that there's one big thing missing, and that is the motherboard. Well, you know, that hasn't turned up yet. Long story, I won't go into it, but I'm promised, again, it'll be here early next week. So, you know, all things being equal, I'll be able to kick this off before I have to go back to work after Wednesday. Okay, so aside from the motherboard, which is a mini ITX motherboard, it does support DDR4 RAM. So what I've purchased as far as RAM is concerned is some G-Skill Trident RAM, DDR4, and it's 3200 speed, so that will be plenty, and it is overclockable as well. And yeah, I'll have a fiddle with that if the temperatures are alright. Yeah, why not? The system is running on an i7 6700K, which I do intend to overclock. Obviously, overclocking that is going to produce some heat. How am I going to get around that? Well, I've decided to get an all-in-one cooler for this one, and after a fair bit of research and help from people, I've decided on this 360 3-fan setup. It's a radiator and cooler, all-in-one unit, sealed unit from Thermaltake with some, you know, whiz-bang LED fans and what have you. And that should keep temperatures down nicely. I've got a matching fan for the rear of the case, also a 120. I'll go into the decisions again a bit later as to why I've chosen those sizes. And the graphics card is a GeForce GTX 970. These are fantastic buying at the moment. Everyone's moving up to the 1070s and 1080s and ditching their 970s. So yeah, second hand, get on a reputable forum like the Overclockers Australia forum and grab yourself a bargain, really. It's sitting in my existing machine at the moment actually. Empty box. The dog is very excited by that. Alright, as far as drives, we've got one of these wonderful Samsung VNAND SSD 950 Pro M2 drives. So that's great because the motherboard I'm getting only has 4 SATA connections. This uses obviously a NVMe Express, or NVMe rather, so NVM Express connector. It's not taking up one of the SATA connectors, so I was going to say free storage, but it's not free. Very high speed, should be great. So that's going to be my boot drive and system drive, and you know, Windows, Office, that sort of stuff. I've also got a Samsung 850 EVO 500 gig drive here, new SSD. I'm going to be using that to put all my Steam games on it, so hopefully we'll get a bit better performance out of that, and that'll be nice. The main storage drive, I've just picked up a Western Digital Blue 6TB drive. Because the gaming is going to be on this SSD, really all that's going to be on this drive is you know, some music, some my photos, that sort of stuff. So it's not a high demand drive, so I thought, well, I'll save the money. Rather than buy a black, I decided to buy this one, and yeah, spent the money on some of these other goodies that you can see here. Operating system wise, we're going with Windows 10. I had originally intended to have all this stuff ready before July 29th because I've got 2 valid Windows 7 keys, and was going to take advantage of the free you know, Windows upgrade to Windows 10, and yeah, alas, as you know, we're not there yet, and it's well past, it's the 6th today, so it's well past July 29th, so yeah, I had to spend $130, $140 and send it Bill Gates' way. But I don't mind, he needs the money. He needs the money. Alright, well that's pretty much what I've got laid out here. As I say, power supply still to come. It's a 1000 watt platinum 80 plus, high quality power supply. And the other thing is the motherboard itself. I'll show you when it gets here. But really there's nothing else to be too excited about. Once we get it all together and unboxed, then we can start the build, and that'll be more fun and increasingly frustrating, I'm sure. Especially since I forgot to pick up a particular cable when I was at UMart this afternoon. It's only just occurred to me. Never mind. See you next time. G'day. Right, we've all seen plenty of unboxing videos on the net, and after a while, well, I know for me for one, I get sick of them. It's a box, you open the box, it's got stuff in it, you open the stuff, oh yes, there's a manual, oh yeah, look, there's some wires. It's fascinating. I mean, don't get me wrong, paint drying, love it. Grass growing, tip top, unboxing videos, had enough. So, having said that, here's the world's quickest unboxing video. Impressive, huh? Super quick, quickest unboxing ever. The only thing I didn't unbox was this because, you know, already. Okay, let's have a closer look at some of the stuff we've got. Okay, so we've got 3 terabyte Western Digital red NAS drives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it. Here's the motherboard, the Super Micro motherboard. As you can see, it's a socket 1151. 4 channels for DDR4 RAM. So far I've got 2 16 gig sticks. There they are. Of DDR4 error correcting RAM, ECC RAM, and that allows me to upgrade even further in future should I ever feel the need, which I doubt I'll need to for this particular system. Okay, obviously it comes with wires, yeah, seen them before. Oh look, the top of a CPU, fascinating, and there's the stock Intel CPU cooler that comes with it. Look, more than adequate for what I'm going to need. But obviously when I took it out, I managed to smudge the thermal paste, which is fine. I'll just get some alcohol and clean that off because I'm going to be using Noctua NTH1 paste anyway. I just prefer it. I think it's a good product, so I'll stick with that. There's our Kingston 128 gig SSD. So moving over now, here's the Fantech case. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail shortly because it's worthy of a video of its own. Here we see the Fantech's power splitter. As you can see, you can get the large power connector, 24 pin, plus 2 8-pin connectors. They come in from the power board, or from the PSU rather. And then you've got 2 systems that you can run off that. So one system on the left and another on the right. So each one of those has its own 24 pin connector, 8-pin and 4-pin connectors as well. So yeah, as I say, that just runs the motherboard, RAM, that sort of thing. It doesn't include any power for SATA devices, and doesn't include obviously power for the graphics card. Those are still routed direct from the PSU,
Therefore, you're never likely to exceed the Fantech, I think it's 425 watt, that this power splitter can handle. Look, certainly give me more than enough. A great idea, and let's hope it works as well in the implementation as it does in theory. All right, coming around here, Western Digital 6TB blue drive, fascinating. i7 chip, yep. Look, that's Windows 10. That's $140 worth of Australian money. I am underwhelmed. Bill Gates, I expect something bigger, flashier, neon lights, maybe some flashing LEDs, God knows. For that sort of money, I want something more than that, you tight bastard. All right, over here we've got two 16 gig sticks of G.Skill Trident Z 3200 DDR4 RAM. It's overclockable, so yeah, we'll do that. I'll probably do that, depending upon what case temperatures we're getting and how that's all working out. There's my beautiful VNAND Pro 950 M2 NVMe drive, and your typical solid state drive. This is the Samsung 850 500 gigabyte. Okay, over there's the case fan, it's the LED Thermaltake case fan, and that's the controller for it. The controller is actually allowed you to change colour, set it to a particular colour cycle, all sorts of stuff like that. But I suspect it's one of those things that the novelty will wear out soon enough. I'll pick a colour and stick with it. Yep. This is obviously the Thermaltake 360 all-in-one CPU cooler. It's called a Water 3.0. The most important aspect of this is the depth of the radiator being 27 millimeters, which will just fit in my system with the MITX board in there. It's got about 30 mils of clearance, so cross your fingers, let's hope, otherwise I'll be quite annoyed. And that obviously is the motherboard, the bracketry for the back of the motherboard to support the actual pump itself, and water block that goes against the CPU. And these are the three, there are three there, fans, more or less identical to that one, for drawing air through the radiator and as an exhaust setup out through the top of the case. Alright, so that's about what we've got so far. As I say, 1000 watt PSU to come, motherboard to come for Asus motherboard. I believe it's being posted Monday. Yeah, I hope it gets here Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, but yeah, I'm not going to be able to do as much of this build as I'd hoped, but I should be able to kick on and start it as soon as that power supply turns up, which should be Monday. Yeah. Alright, next video we'll have a look at this case in a little bit more detail. I'll put the specs of my system in the video below, or in the comments to the video below, and we'll kick on from there. Cheers to next time.